name's Nick. I'm the Mystic Next Door. I'm the creator of Mystic Sound Healing, and one of the questions that people ask me all the time is like, well, how the heck do you even play these things? Like, they've picked up a bowl maybe at a fair or at a shop, at a spiritual bookstore or something, and they're like, how do I even play this thing? How do I make it work? And so I wanted to break it down for you. I'm using metal bowls. It's slightly different for crystal bowls. I'll talk about the difference between the two in another video, but for now, we're working with metal bowls. And this is a G tone, so lots of times this is associated with the throat chakra, but there's a little more to it than that. I'll get into that in another video as well. But really simply put, when you buy a bowl, typically they'll give you a mallet. It probably won't look like this exactly, but they'll give you, this is a mallet, and simple enough, right? You just strike the bowl. What I'm not doing, especially with smaller bowls, is I'm not gripping it, like holding it and like gripping onto it with my fingers. You'll see that I've got my palm more open, and that's just so that my hands or my fingers there aren't dampening the vibration. Like when you strike this in your hand, you definitely will feel it vibrate, and you want to feel it vibrate, and you want to allow it to vibrate. That's the magic of the singing bowl. And there's definitely a technique to hitting the bowl, right? Just to make a sound out of it. Not very hard at all. You just strike the bowl, right? Don't overcomplicate it. But to get a consistent sound, to get them to sound more consistently, what you would do is you want to imagine that you're playing through the bowl, not just like hitting it and taking it away, but that you're actually like kind of striking through the bowl. As opposed to sure how much of that really comes through on the recording here. I can tell you that in person it sounds different, and to anybody who's listening, right, you're looking for a consistent sound. You want consistent strikes, right? And to get the most out of it, to really get it to resonate, you just imagine that you're playing right through the bowl. What you wind up with is a much more round and consistent sound, okay? Now, the other thing that they might provide for you is, they call this like a wand. This is a felt end, and then this is a wood end. And I'll show you how to play all those. Now, one, you can just strike it. I wouldn't strike it with the wood. That's not going to sound good. It sounds like it's really clangy and it gets really loud really fast. You can totally do it. Not really recommended. It's not a very soothing sound. However, the felt side, you totally can. And see, I'm doing the same thing, is I'm not just like kind of tapping it like that. I'm actually just loosely holding the mallet or the wand and allowing it to play right through. So you can strike it like that, or you can create a sustained sound by moving around the rim, right? So how that's done is we'll start with the felt side. You can use both, and you just gently draw the wand around the rim. See, it kind of slipped there. And that sound at the end is basically the wand bouncing off of the bowl. And you can control how much or how little of that you have. It's not very complicated, but it does take kind of a feel, so you just sort of have to practice with it. A couple things with this. I see a lot of people kind of struggle to get a sound going with this, and one of the little tricks that I use is if you start absolutely from nothing, see how it takes a little bit longer to get it going. But if you just add a very slight little tap to it, it starts singing almost immediately. So if you're playing one and you want to have it speak right away, that just, it's like not even a tap, it's just kind of a little, putting a little weight into when the wand touches the bowl, it'll speak right away. So that's how you use the felt side. The wood side you can also use. This one, it has like more of a scraping sound, but what it does is it brings out the high overtones. So you hear the felt, brings out the fundamental tone, and the wood will bring out the higher overtones. So you want to make sure that the bowl is stopped. You just gently pinch it, or put your hand on it to stop it from vibrating. And then when you place the wood, now this one you don't want to tap it, you just want to gently place the wood. And you'll hear more of that high overtone coming out. And you also hear a little bit of the wood scraping against the metal. It's to me, it's soothing in its own way. If it's not done right, it can be kind of scrapey or kind of harsh. But to me, when it's done gently, it sounds like it's an organic kind of sound, right? It's metal, wood on metal, right? These beautiful organic materials. So another way here, this one will demonstrate that. This is another one of my favorite bowls. You can hear. Right, you see how my hand here is not gripping the bowl. It's especially with the little bit smaller bowl. It starts to deaden and it doesn't ring as long. But when this bowl will ring for a really long time. But when you scrape it, this one will really highlight the difference here. You hear that fundamental tone, and then you hear the higher overtones. So the felt will tend to bring out the fundamental tone, but the wood really brings out that higher overtone. And every bowl is a little bit different. Like you can hear, particularly with metal bowls, because all of these are hand hammered, right? They're handmade. And crystal bowls tend to have a little bit more consistency to them, but metal bowls, you really have to pick an instrument that feels really right for you and just play around with it. You just have to play around with it and practice. I guess practice would be a good word for it, but I don't really think of it that way. I just think of it as playing. Like you're just going to play and really get to know the instrument, because each one of them will respond a little bit differently depending on how heavy they are. Like this is a very thick metal as opposed to this one, which is more thin. And so they'll respond differently for sure. And when you use the felt versus when you use the wood, and different mallets will bring out different overtones in them. So last thing with that, I'll do the last thing, closing it with the mallets. This is the one that I like to use most. This is by a maker called Dragonfly. As far as singing bowl mallets go, they're definitely not the least expensive option available, but they're really beautiful and really consistent, and I love them. So when you play with this one, I like that one and I use it a lot because it brings out a nice balance of the low or the fundamental tone all the way up into the high overtones. This is more of a gong mallet, and they'll say like this is for a gong, but you can totally use it with your bowls. just recognize that it's a very different mallet and different sound. See how that one's got a really nice mellow sound to it. The larger size and the softness, this fuzzy softness, doesn't bring out as many of the high overtones. So that's the basics of how to play your bowl. I'd love to know, what kind of bowls that you have, if you find this helpful, if you have other questions about how to actually play your bowl and just enjoy it on your own, then I'd love to hear about it. So drop a comment below. My name's Nick. I'm the Mystic Next Door. I'm the creator of Mystic Sound Healing. I hope you'll join me for the next live stream experience. Every month on the full moon, I do a ceremony and a full, you can see all the bowls here. I do a full sound healing and live stream it in really great audio quality straight out to YouTube. So you can go to nickhansinger.com/full moon, or just go to mysticsoundhealing.net and you'll find all the information there. Hope to see you there. Bye-bye.